Hi, Shalom Aleichem again. So today I'd like to speak about apples and honey. You know, not the bees and the birds and the bees, but apples and honey. Now, of course, we're about 14 days from one of the most monumental days of the year, and that is the Rosh Hashanah. That's the New Year. And of course, one of the main themes, for some reason, that people really relate when they think about Rosh Hashanah is dipping the apple in the honey. So I'd like to speak about that just a little bit. In fact, many times when I meet many Jews, and it's right before Rosh Hashanah, I ask them a simple question. And as you see, questions are the key. It really makes you think and makes sure that you're not just doing things by rote. And so here's a question. Rosh Hashanah, many different styles of dipping the apple in the honey. If you've been to a meal on Rosh Hashanah, there are people that like to, you know what I actually liken it to? You imagine you are by a poolside and there's a diving board. So of course there's many different types of forms of dives that you can do. You can do that simple dive, straight in. Those are the people who take the apple, do it very simple, dip into the honey, do exactly what they're supposed to do, and eat it. But then there are people that actually do the tricks. There are people that do dives, do flips. I've seen people, actually, my wife actually told me about that. They swirl the apple into the honey. So there are many different styles. There are some people that like to do a big splash. Those are the people that actually dip and all the honey falls all over the place. So whatever your style is, my question to you is the following, and I think it's such a fundamental question. Why do you dip the apple in the honey? So what are you going to respond to that? Most people say, because we want to have a sweet year. So I say to people, wait a minute. You want to tell me dipping the apple in the honey, that's going to make you have a sweet year? How does that work? Magic? Boom. I dipped the apple in the honey, God. I did what you said. Give me a sweet year. Difficult. And the truth is that in Judaism, we actually say doing things like that is really a prohibition. Meaning, there's a concept called nichush. Nichush means you can't use guessing games when it comes to life. For example, a black cat walks in front of you while you're walking on the road. If you say, you know what, bad day for the stock market. Now, there are many reasons why it's a bad day for the stock market, but that's not one of the reasons. Meaning to say, I'm not going to be in business today because I saw a black cat, that's not Judaism. That's called nichush. So how is it possible, and this is actually one of the big Rishonim, the great rabbis, who asked this question. He says, Rosh Hashanah, you do simanim, you do different signs, you put the apple in the honey. What is going on? This is the highest day of the year, high holidays, and here we are dipping apples in honeys and thinking we're going to have a sweet year? Good question, right? One of my favorite Rosh Hashanah questions. But I'm going to ask you another question before we get to the answer to this question. Here's an interesting question that people really might think about. Rosh Hashanah is the New Year. It's a Jewish New Year. Now the truth is, especially in America, there's what's called the New Year, the secular New Year. That takes place a few months later in January. And this is a real joke. I don't know if my wife really liked this joke so much, but even the place where it takes place, meaning that New Year party in January, is in the Big Apple. You see, they took the aspect of the apple in the honey. Well, they don't have the honey. And they borrowed that for their New Year. But that's a little bit of a side joke. My main question is, what really is the difference, if you think about, between our New Year and the secular New Year? Now, of course, you'll tell me, well, one is commanded by the Torah, one is commanded by God, and the other one is really based on Gregorian calendar. But what I'm asking is, practically, New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and New Year, January, are times where most people think, you know what we're going to do now? Make our resolutions. That's it. I'm going to diet. I'm going to be running every day 2 miles. I'm going to get on that machine. I'm not going to get angry at my kids anymore this year. It's many resolutions. And the truth is, those resolutions you could do in Rosh Hashanah, and you could do it in January. So what really distinguishes Rosh Hashanah? What makes it more special than a regular New Year? So good question. I hope that you could think about that. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and we're going to continue next time with the answer to these thoughts. Thank you.